Welcome to Lemon Positivity. My name is Billy Highland. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur and high-performance coach dedicated to helping you live your best everyday life. Each week, I deliver powerful strategies, life-changing habits, and endless positive reinforcement designed to supercharge your long-term success. I believe in you. I'm in your corner. Now get ready to start sour and end sweet. Welcome, everyone, to the Lemon Positivity Podcast. I'm Billy Highland, your host. I'm super excited to bring you this episode today because I think it will help us all see things more clearly. And today I want to share and talk about the importance of clarity in our life, knowing where we want to go, knowing who we want to be. And I want to start off this episode like any other episode, and I want to share a quote that I think is so appropriate, that gets me thinking, that I believe is profound when it comes to clarity, and it's from Vincent van Gogh. I experience a period of frightening clarity in those moments when nature is so beautiful. I am no longer sure of myself, and the paintings appear as in a dream. I experience a period of frightening clarity in moments when nature is so beautiful. I am no longer sure of myself, and the paintings appear as in a dream. So what is he saying here? He's saying that his ideas, his paintings, his ideas become so vivid, become so clear when he is surrounded by nature, inspired by nature. And I thought it was so appropriate with this quote when I stumbled upon it, because that's how I feel when I'm outside and in nature, whether it's riding my bike or going for a walk or spending time with my family. And you can hear the sounds of nature, you can see nature all around you. It's just so inspiring, and I find I get a lot of ideas and inspiration from it. And it's such a beautiful quote from Vincent van Gogh. When nature is so beautiful, I am no longer sure of myself. I'm lost. And the paintings just come as in a dream. And so I want to start this episode in talking about clarity, because a lot of times we go through life and we're unsure of where we're going or what it is we want. And let me start with a little story, and maybe this dates some of the people listening here, but I'm sure a majority can relate. And this goes back to before we had our iPhones or cell phones or in-car navigation and stuff like that helps guide us to where we want to go. I remember being with my parents as a little kid. My dad had a Dodge Dart. I think it only had an AM radio. But anytime we would go on a trip and drive somewhere that was beyond our neighborhood, we'd always get lost. And it would be a big argument between my parents. My dad would be like, "No, we're going this way." My mom would say, "No, you need to go that way. You need to make a right here and go this way." Nobody knew where they were going. And back in those days, you either carried a map in your car to guide you, which road, which highway, where do you need to go, what town are we headed towards? Or, as my dad liked to do is, let's just stop in the gas station, and he would tell my mom, "You go and ask the attendant for directions." Ask the attendant, ask someone else for directions, because I didn't have a plan. I wasn't clear. I didn't have a direction of where I wanted to go. And it really has me thinking, because I look back on my life, and for a long, long period of time, I never had a roadmap. I never had direction. Where did I want to go? Who did I want to become? What were my goals? Here's another thing you may relate to. Remember when we were all children and kids playing, right? And a parent, a grandparent, or a neighbor, or someone would come up and say, "What would you like to be when you grow up?" And if you're like me, most of us, we always had an answer. I want to be a baseball player. I want to be a doctor. I want to fly to the moon. We always had a vision. We had clarity as children. Our imaginations would run wild. We could be and do anything. And we would make it up as we go along. We would become those things. My boys, when they were little, wanted to be superheroes, so they would dress up in their favorite superhero costume. Now, my boys are a little bit older. They're 10 and 8, and they want to be professional soccer players. So they play and practice soccer every day. And I'm trying to teach them to start to think about what they want and to think about goals. And we'll get into that in a little bit later. But I wanted to just start this episode grounding us in that idea of why clarity, why having direction, why knowing what we want, where we want to go is so important to living a better everyday life. And I know if you're like me, a lot of times we have gaps, right? Of here we are today to where we want to go. And so how do we close that gap? We need clarity. We need to be clear. We need a plan. We need a roadmap. And I hope through this episode I can get you thinking about that as you reflect on those things that you're trying to accomplish, what you want to do. You need clarity. You need focus. You need a plan of how do I get from A to B? Because I promote the importance of morning routines. And again, it's about clarity. How do you want to start your day? Have you ever woke up in the morning, probably grabbed a cup of coffee? I hope it's lemon water, but I too like to drink coffee, but that comes after lemon water. And you just sat there and your family, your kids, or maybe you just to yourself is like, what am I going to do today? What are we doing today? I get that a lot from my kids. What are we doing today? And I'll be like, I don't know. And when I don't know, nothing happens because there's no clarity. There's no plan. There's no vision for the day. And then what happens? Everyone else is just sitting around because they don't have a vision. They don't have a plan. They don't have an idea. There's no clarity on what it is they need to do, what they need to accomplish, what they want to go do and see for the day. And so this all gets back to the importance of habits. And one of the habits I want to share later on in the end of this episode to help you gain clarity, to help you close the gaps, to help you get from A to B is the practice of goal setting. And we'll get to that in a bit. But let's talk about it, because I look around and I know successful people, and I'm sure you do as well, people that you admire. And I would venture to guess that they have remarkable clarity. You ask them, what are you doing? Where are you going? What are your goals? And they have a vision. They're clear, right? They are not just wandering aimlessly through life. And that's another thing. Life is so short too, right? And we can't waste this time. We cannot waste this time. We need to know where we're going. So let's talk about things about, like, let me ask you a question. Where are you, or where do you feel most certain about where you are in life right now? What are you most certain about? What are you clear about in life right now? Well, Billy, I'm clear that I have to go to work every day, and I'm most certain that I have to pay my taxes. Yes, that's great. But where do you feel the most certain? Well, I feel most certain about my health. I exercise every day or 3 times a week. I am certain about my job. I am certain about this. Okay, let me ask you, what are you uncertain about? Where do you feel directionless? Well, maybe it's something to do with health. I just can't seem to lose the amount of weight I want to lose. I am uncertain or directionless about my finances. They're a mess. I am uncertain or directionless about my family. We just don't see eye to eye. Okay, well, how can we close the gaps? And the first step for clarity is just having that awareness, right? Let's take off those blinders right now, in some of those areas that, may be troubling or maybe challenging. Things are blurry right now. You're uncertain. You're not sure. So how can we put a different lens over that so we can start to make changes, incorporate habits, make a plan, have a vision, have some clarity that would get us to close that gap and to give us more direction and meaning? How about values? Are you clear about your values? What do you value most in life? Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's career. Maybe it's some passion or hobby of yours. What do you value most? When I think about, for myself, what do I value most? I value adventure. I value watching my boys grow and experience new things with joy and energy and positivity. I really enjoy the family time together too. Now that my kids are 10 and 8, it's been a little bit easier to travel. And we recently went on a trip to Colorado, and I've been wanting to go to Colorado for a long time. I have family there that live in Denver and then all the way down in Gunnison. And we're talking about nature. Add some mountains, add some running rivers, which surround you everywhere. So we recently went to Colorado, and it was so funny because we spent a night in Denver, but then we had to drive 3.5 hours to Gunnison, and we had to drive past and through and around and up and down through the mountains. Something that was new to me. Now, if I just went out there and didn't have an idea of where I wanted to go, how I was going to get from Denver to Gunnison, I'd be in trouble. I never drove through the mountains. And one thing I learned was just coming down on some of those steep grades and potentially what that could do to your car. I was fortunate because when we first headed to Gunnison, I was following my cousin. She was in a car ahead of us. But we had navigation, and we mapped out a plan the night before, so we did have some clarity about how we were going to get from Denver to Gunnison, how long it was going to take, where we were going to stop, what we were going to see, when we would arrive at Gunnison. But I still didn't have all that preparation about actually getting behind the driver's wheel with my family in the car, driving through the mountains, some narrow roads, some twists and turns. Because, you're looking out and all you see is this beautiful land, expansiveness, and mountains and rivers, but you got to keep your eyes focused on where you're going. So I value that time, and I valued watching my kids just enjoy nature and hike. And my youngest really took to climbing on some of our hikes. And again, when you talk about clarity, even him, his uncle was teaching him, his Uncle Brad was teaching him about putting, one foot and one hand up. You got to have you still have to have that clarity. You still have to have that vision, one step at a time, and you reach higher, and you got to find, where do you put your hand next? And you got to think about it. And there's clarity. You're not climbing a mountain. You're not going blindfolded. Imagine if I was driving blindfolded, or, if my son was climbing and he was blindfolded or didn't have one arm or something. Like, there's something that's messing with that clarity. And so I value that, and I value that family time, and I value watching them take on some of those challenges. And I try to teach them too about those kind of things of, what do you want to do? If you want to climb to the top, it's not easy. You're going to have setbacks. And my son would, try, and even some of the rock climbing walls, he'd try and be like, oh, this is too difficult, and I don't know. I'm like, okay, take a step back, come back down, look at what you're about to climb, and start to have a vision and a plan. Well, if I go here, if I step here, if I reach for that, then start going. Okay, so those are some of the things. So again, clarity is just not having a plan, but it's just knowing what you value, who you are, what you want, what's certain in your life, what's uncertain, and that's awareness. And let me ask you, let's talk about clarity and success. If you had to explain what makes you successful to someone you were mentoring, what would you say? I'll let you think about that for a moment, but if you had to explain what makes you successful to someone you're mentoring, for me, it comes down to, when it comes to success, if I was telling someone I was mentoring, what has made me successful? 3 words: positivity, energy, and enthusiasm. Hence the name of this podcast, Lemon Positivity. Just always bringing joy, positivity, and openness. Bringing energy, right? We are human beings. We are energy. People feel your energy. What energy do you bring? I believe I bring a high energy. And an energy that will attract and draw people in. And then lastly, another thing that's made me successful, I would tell someone I was mentoring: enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic about what it is you want to do, what you want to accomplish at your job, at home, with your friends, in life. Enthusiasm, and what's that like for you? And we're going to get into a little exercise in a second that this is something my mentor taught me, was is to help gain clarity, and that is to write down and think about 3 words that define the best of who you are, to help guide you in your life, to give you some clarity. And again, for me, it's positivity, energy, and enthusiasm. So each and every day, any situation I face, I remember those words. That's what makes me successful. That's what I want to bring into the room. My positivity, my energy, and my enthusiasm. So that's actually a nice segue. Let's get into that. I've got this, it's a really simple thing. And this is what I tell my clients when I coach them. And this is something that my coach and mentor has taught me. It's a very simple exercise. Grab your cell phone, whichever kind of cell phone you got. Go into your alarms, and where you can set your alarm and you can put a little note there. Set an alarm. I typically do mine twice a day, like early in the morning or late in the afternoon. And when that alarm goes off, it reminds me of those 3 words that give me clarity, that tell me what I need to bring, what I value, what I need for success. So again, it's usually around 8:30 a.m. The alarm goes off. I see it on my phone. Positivity, energy, enthusiasm. What are your 3? What are the 3 words that would describe the best of who you are? What is it? Is it your humor? Is it your perspective or thinking or knowledge? Is it your personality? What are those 3 words that describe the best of who you are? That will bring you some clarity each and every day. I encourage you to put it in your cell phone, set an alarm. Every day it goes off, it reminds you, and it will help you immensely. And I still have it in there to this day. I use my phone a lot to have reminders of those kind of things like that, because we forget. But that's okay. Here's another analogy, right? Imagine you're on a boat. Let's say a sailboat. Now you have this gorgeous sail, this beautiful boat. You're in the back, you're lounging, and here comes the wind to take you. Where is it taking you? Did you set the sail? Did you set it to where you want to go? Because I'm sure we've all been in boats or something where you've drifted off course. You've gone somewhere you didn't want to go. Why? Because you may have to make some adjustments as you go, and that's okay. With clarity comes that vision of direction and where do I need to aim? Where do I need to go? Where do I need to set my sail? Another mentor of mine taught me about aiming high. Aim, right? Where's that aim? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? Aim. Okay, if you want to become a millionaire, what direction? What approach? What plan? What actions do you need to take? What is that sail? How do you set that sail on that course to becoming a millionaire? How do you set that sail on the course to becoming the healthiest you possible? How do you set your sail in the right direction to being most productive, most successful at work? Set your sail. Have clarity. Be clear. So do that exercise. 3 words. Again, for example, mine are positivity, energy, and enthusiasm. The best, defining the best of who you are. All right. So, I always want to end my episodes with you by sharing a habit, right? Lemon Positivity is all about starting sour, ending sweet. Starting at one place and ending at another place. So that is closing the gap, A to B. So something that I never did throughout my life was setting goals. Now, I'm sure you have heard it, goals, throughout your life, whether it was school, work, anywhere, about goals. What's your goals? What do you want to do? I never had goals. Never. I remember just different places that I worked at, they would say, well, we got to write down our goals for the year. What are your goals? You'd meet with your manager. What are your goals? I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted. Where did I want to go? Who did I want to become? I was unclear, blurry, fogged. I didn't have a vision. And it translated into the trajectory of my career path and things that happened. It was an up and down ride because I wasn't clear. I didn't have goals. Well, I want to be this. I want to learn this skill. I want to do that. None of it. I didn't have it. And my mentor, my coach, a lot of my mentors profess how important it is to have goals. But most importantly, getting in the habit of writing down your goals. And so I've been doing that the last couple months. I've heard it from my mentors. I've heard it all over about goals, and I still never quite did it. Now I am. And I'm starting to see that it works. I've been taught that it's important to write down your goals each and every day. Oh my God, each and every day. It's hard. It's hard because I usually write down 5 to 10 every single day, and they happen to be similar, and that's okay. But what is it doing when you write it down? The things that you want, your goals. It gets imprinted and implanted in your brain and down in your subconscious. So as you go through your day, in your mind, you're constantly aware of your goals. You're attracting things that help you get to your goals. You start to understand and start to plan out, what are the steps? What do I need to do to achieve that? And one important thing I want to share about writing down goals is to keep it in the present tense and make it very specific. For example, I earn however amount of money doing X. I weigh a certain number of pounds, which gives me a great amount of energy to do X, Y, and Z. Get very specific. I travel. I learn. Very specific about what your goals are. And I have a notebook now that is strictly for writing down goals and ideas. And it's just so funny because when I rode my bike here to the park to do this podcast episode, they're there, and I'm thinking about this episode and how I'm going to unfold it, about clarity and vision and direction. I kept thinking about my goals, and they're there. They're memorized because I write them down every day. And sometimes what I want to try to do is make sure, and even to write down your top 3 at night before you go to bed, so it seeps down into your subconscious. And then you start to get, it's just interesting to see how ideas come to you on how you can achieve it. Because you do have to not only just write down your goals, but as you get into the habit of writing down your goals, you're going to get into the habit of, what are the steps I need to take? For example, I want to write a book about X, Y, and Z. And I want to do it by the end of 2023. Okay, definitely put a timetable to it. Get very specific. Okay, well, what do I need to do? I don't know. Maybe the first step is, what's my topic? Maybe the second step is, can I at least write out a table of contents? Can I at least write out the title? Can I write the first sentence? Like, you just start to get ideas and brainstorm steps to take to start to achieve your goal. And even if it's a big goal, and I encourage you to dream big and to write big goals, because you can continually break them down into smaller goals and action steps. So my wish for you is that I hope this episode starts to put on a new lens and perspective of how you see each and every day, how goal setting, how having vision and clarity and a direction each day can help you live a better everyday life. I'm Billy Highland, your host. Thank you so much for listening to Lemon Positivity. I hope you have the best day, week, year ever. Joy, peace, love, and lemon water. I hope today's episode will help you live a better everyday life. Make sure to check out the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend on social media and leave me a review. Make sure to sign up for my 5 to Thrive Morning Ritual Guide at billyhighlandchpc.com. Remember, each day is a brand new day to start sour and end sweet.